My name is Dr. Tushar Mehta. I'm a physician from Canada, and I'm here with Rupa Shah, giving a small interview about some questions regarding plant-based diet or vegan diet and health, as that is one of my areas of expertise. Although in Canada, I'm an emergency and family medicine doctor, but this is something that I'm very interested in. Regarding protein in vegans, first and foremost, vegans can get enough protein very easily. It's not that hard to get enough protein. There are plenty of vegans, there are plenty of vegan athletes now as well, bodybuilders, endurance athletes, and powerlifters, etc. How do you get your protein? So first of all, the average person needs 0.8 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight on a daily basis. We often round that up to 1 gram per kilogram. If somebody's very overweight, they may need a little bit less. You may correct that amount to their corrected body weight. If they're very overweight, and if you were just by their height, judge what their normal BMI would be and use that kind of a weight. Or if they're very skinny, you might estimate a little bit higher. But generally, 1 gram per kilogram of body weight per day of protein is what you need. So, the best protein sources in a vegan diet are through pulses, that means lentils and beans. And you also get you also get a lot through nuts and seeds, so you should also eat nuts and seeds, as well as whole grains. Whole grains are also a good source of protein, a little bit moderate source of protein as compared to pulses, but still a good source. A combination of all these foods will give you the amount of protein that you need on a daily basis. A lot of people in India are vegetarian, meaning that they consume dairy. So if they're subtracting dairy from their diet, that does mean that they should increase their protein from other sources. They should increase the amount of pulses, whole grains, nuts and seeds in their diet. So it's good to pay attention, and it's not that hard. Another fantastic source of protein is soya-based foods. So there's soybeans that people grind up and put into the flour of their rotis. That's an excellent thing to do. There are soya milks that are available in the market, or people make them at home. There are other soya products available as well. In fact, in India now, there's a plant-based meat or a vegan meat that's available called Good Dot, and it has an excellent nutritional profile in terms of really high protein, high fiber, but low fat and low sodium, or moderate sodium at least. And it's a good thing to do as well, not to just have it as your main protein source, but to mix it into your diet if that's something that you like. For example, people who are eating meat may want to make substitute.
There seem to be a lot of controversies regarding soy products, and people in India have various opinions. Some say it's good, some say it's not good. Can you please explain to us about it more in detail, why you so much recommend soy products?
So for many years, there has been controversy about soy in humans, and a lot of that is created by the meat and dairy industry. People say that isoflavones, which are some of these soy substances, which are also found in other foods actually, are that they have estrogen-like effects, and therefore they can cause problems in men, women, and children, by having excess estrogen when they shouldn't be having it. Now, this is simply not true. That's the bottom line. That these isoflavones, they have tiny, minuscule effects of estrogen, but they also have estrogen blocking effects. So at the same time as they may have some tiny estrogen effect, they also have a lot of blocking effects. They are not estrogens in that sense. They have these multiple effects on different estrogen receptors. When we have done any kind of study in humans, we found that males do not change their estrogen effect. They don't grow breast tissue. They don't change their lean body mass. We find that women also don't get estrogen effects from them. They're not getting extra breast development or breast cancers or endometrial cancers. In fact, there is good evidence that people consuming soy all their life in sufficient quantities, so having 2 to 3 servings of soy per day for their whole life, have less breast cancer and less prostate cancer. In fact, with prostate cancer, the results are quite astounding, that people have maybe between 30, 40, 50% less prostate cancer from those consuming that soy during their lifetime versus those that don't. and also pretty good, 20-30% prevention in women for breast cancer. So it's quite remarkable. There's no disadvantage. When they look at children consuming soy, they do not find that they have any early puberty in girls or any estrogen effects for their growth or anything like that. In fact, in recent years or over the decades, girls are getting earlier and earlier puberty, but those girls who can consume soy get a little bit, later onset puberty that was more in line with what we've had in the older days, older times. But there's been no adverse effects. Soy also is shown to reduce cholesterol. It increases bone strength, decreases heart disease. So soy has excellent effects like that. And it's an excellent source of protein. It's the highest source of protein of any plant food at the moment that we have available to us. So it's fantastic in all those ways. It's also a bean, so it fixes nitrogen, brings nitrogen into the soil, so it reduces fertilizer dependence and fertilizer use. So that's an excellent quality of soy as well. And it's more ecological. Compared to other sources of protein, you're going to use less land and less water for directly consuming soy, as opposed to feeding soy or other things to animals, which requires a lot more food to feed the animal, and they get a much smaller amount of protein back for human use. So we're saving the environment as well by using soy, but also using other pulses too. Other pulses may have similar, effects to reduce cancer, increase lifespan, and so forth as well, but soy is one of the best researched. Also in regards to soy, as I mentioned, soy does not have estrogen, but meat, dairy, and eggs does have real estrogen. If somebody eats the flesh of a female animal, a fish, chicken, a goat, a cow, or anything like that, if that animal is a female, that body contains real estrogen that's 100% biologically active in human. And if you drink milk, milk comes from cows. Cows have a lot of estrogen in their body, especially when they're lactating, producing milk. And especially when they're lactating and then impregnated again, which is what happens. While they're lactating, producing milk, they are impregnated again, then their estrogen levels shoot up really high, and that estrogen is found in the milk. And eggs are produced from the ovary of a chicken, and they grow in the female chicken's body, and are also continually absorbing some of that estrogen and contain some real estrogen that's biologically active in humans. So meat, dairy, and eggs contains real estrogen. It's 100% active in the body. When you see guys with breast tissue development, they have the man boobs or whatever it is, 99% of the time they're people who eat meat, dairy, and eggs. And that's where you're going to find it more often. Obesity also causes more estrogen in males and females, so which can have certain problems as well. And those foods also contribute to obesity as well. So there's more than one mechanism by which they increase estrogen in the human body. But soy foods are not a culprit, and we should get that out of our mind. The other thing about soy is some people think it's bad for the thyroid. Again, there's no clinical study that shows any adverse effect of the thyroid, so we should get that out of our heads too. Soy is a very safe food, and you can consume it in normal quantities. You can have 2, 3, 4 servings a day, it's not a problem. I tell people not to just eat soy all the time, but you should mix it with other sources of protein too, because the variety is always good for you.
Do you think that those who are vegan and are also athletes, their requirements of protein also can be well met by the vegan diet?
Absolutely. There are currently a huge number of vegan athletes, or a growing number of vegan athletes. There's some famous people like Serena Williams. In the last Olympics, there was a United States weightlifter who won silver medal, and he's a vegan. There's Djokovic, who's pretty much a vegan as well, and tennis star. And lots of endurance athletes doing Ironman triathlons or ultra marathons and who are vegan as well. So endurance athletes and strength athletes are commonly, there's a growing number of them that are vegan, and most of them say that their performance is enhanced since becoming vegan. Your protein requirements are pretty much the same as if you're non-vegan, except that you're going to get the proteins from vegan sources. So all the sources that I mentioned before, your pulses, your nuts and seeds, whole grains. People who are athletes consume a higher number of calories, they're eating more, and so they're going to consequently get more protein from those foods. Now, especially the strength-based athletes, they want even higher amounts of proteins. They want a lot of times 1.5 grams per kilogram of body mass of protein. Sometimes they want up to 2 grams per kilogram of body mass. Fine, you get that from your plant-based foods, and also people take a lot of protein powders, and obviously you can get plant-based protein, vegan protein powders. One of the things, as we reduce, meat, dairy, and egg consumption, one of the advantages is that athletes want to be healthy. They do want to be healthy. But when you're eating a lot of these animal products, you are increasing your chance of heart disease and certain types of cancer in your later age. So you may be very healthy right now, but later on, we're setting ourselves up for some future problems. So by having plant-based protein, athletes do get great performance now, but they can also reduce some of the long-term issues